Bakit. There he is, the number 11 there, along with Faisal, is one of 5 in the starting 11 that plays overseas, in his case for Ittihad Kalba in the United Arab Emirates. There's Brad Smith. He's had to miss the street parade back in Seattle after becoming the first Aussie to win the MLS Cup. Congratulations to him. He returns to his club side, AFC Bournemouth in England, with his future a little bit up in the air, I think it's fair to say. All our officials are from China tonight. Fu Ming is the referee. There he is, 36 years of age, 2 games at the Asian Cup in January, and actually a lecturer at the Nanjing University of Aeronautics and Astronautics. How on earth do you become a referee when you do that job? Borkerman's under a little bit of pressure after some poor results. And Jordan have an issue with their domestic league as well. It finished in May. It's not going to restart until February. Issues with the federation. So these guys are under pressure. Can Australia take full advantage? Matt Ryan will be hoping for a quiet night on the occasion of his 59th cap. But Jordan are a tough outfit. We've seen it before. And the fans will help them. No doubt about that. They've made entry nice and cheap as well. Just 10 Australian dollars, the equivalent of, for the top seats today, to try and get a big crowd in. Looks like the locals have responded. Australia currently top of the section with maximum points from 3 games. Jordan in second, 2 points behind. That could all change in around an hour and a half's time. And off we go. In a man, Jordan in all whites, kicking from left to right, and Robbie Slater is alongside in commentary tonight. Evening, Robbie, and this is, as we say, the toughest game in the group.
Yeah, and it's always been a tough game against Jordan, no matter what time we played them. We've only played them, as you mentioned, 5 times, but never beaten them away from home. And of course, as recent as the Asian Cup, we lost to them as well. I'm with you a little bit. Benatia, Yassin, not playing. Mamani as well, so has he gone for a more defensive lineup? Borkulmans.
Well, this is a tactic that's been employed by Asian coaches before against Australia, and sometimes it backfires, doesn't it? We saw that against Kuwait. Leave your big stars on the bench in the hope of perhaps toughing it out for the first 45 minutes to an hour and then spring in your big stars, but it certainly backfired on the Kuwaitis. Let's see how the Jordanians go. It's going to bounce away from Yassin Al-Bakit.
Well, the games we've played them away from home have all had a similar trend. We have more possession, but they are lightning fast and very dangerous on the counter. And you mentioned Al-Bakit. He'll be one to watch. Fazil up front, of course, and on the right-hand side. But for Australia, it's about composure, and it's about how they use the ball and the ball speed and getting service in that front third to the likes of Jackson Irvine, who plays in a further forward role, and of course Adam Taggart.
And tactically, Graham Arnold, you might find in this first half, will not encourage his fullbacks to push on too much, Ryan Grant and Brad Smith, just to have a little bit of extra insurance against those wingers, Al-Bakit and Ahmed Ersan. Borkerman's certainly won the tactical battle back in January, even though Australia on that day had 74% possession and launched 46 balls into the Jordanian penalty area, but it just would not go in that day. This is Isan Haddad, the right fullback, with the throw. One of few Christians that plays for the Jordanian national team. Square by Milos Deganek, who's the only Australian involved in the European Champions League this year. Playing, of course, for Red Star Belgrade. And they got hammered, didn't they, last time out against Tottenham in that competition. Here's Tommy Rogic. Fascinating to see how he might go tonight. Long absence from the national team. Not getting particularly a lot of minutes with Celtic in Scotland. Brad Smith almost wriggled away from him. And I know this pitch has been a little bit of a concern for Graham Arnold, Robbie. They think it's a bit slippy and bumpy in places. Certainly looks it.
Yeah, but we've been in Asia long enough now to be able to deal with pitches. Played on a lot worse than this.
Sometimes in Australia.
Yep, sometimes in Australia. Yeah, interesting talking about Tommy Rogic. I don't think he was even in the squad in that famous victory they just had in Lazio, I think it was. And didn't even travel there, so the time he has played, Porter, he's been in good form when he does play, but not getting the minutes that he would like, possibly Graham Arnold would like.
And he's also had that knee problem as well, of course, and Celtic gave him a bit of time off in order to get married. But very much in the thick of things tonight as Amr Shafi launches it long for Jordan. Last time out, Jordan were 3-0 winners over Nepal. And one of those was a penalty. Little touch forward by Bahar Faisal. Ethan Haddad creeping down the touchline. It's gone out off the chest of Bahar Faisal. Says he wants his team to attack Vital Borkelmans, but says it's not always possible, even when you're at home against a team of Australia's quality. Question is for the Belgian coach, can lightning strike twice, and does he have to vary his tactics tonight from the ones employed in January, which worked so well? This is Ethan Haddad again, who's seen plenty of the ball in these early stages. Good block tackle by Brad Smith. Might have picked up a bit of a whack there as well in the process. Rogic to slide it out in front of Jackson Irvine. Strong challenge by Tarek Khattab, who was outstanding in that win in January. Quickly taken throw. Irvine had no control over the cross. Jago. Touch back by Moy. Sainsbury out for Grant. Noah Mabil under heavy pressure. And this is Yazan Al-Arab who gets the foul. And a hug from Adam Taggart.
Well, the opening period, and you see how determined the energy of Jordan, buoyed by this big home crowd. Not allowing, well, trying to not allow the Australians to settle. That was their first bit of possession 6 minutes into the game.
Mohamed Al-Damiri looking to float it over the top of Ryan Grant for Al-Bakit. Australia get the decision. James Jago becoming a regular in that midfield for the Socceroos. Big vacancy, of course, left in that holding role by the retirement of Miller Jedinak.
Yeah, you just wonder with that, Aaron Moy, who we've seen further forward, so he's in there with Jago, and you'd imagine Jago be the one that sits, and Moy's given a little bit more freedom to move further forward.
Not at the moment. He's almost in the left full-back position, isn't he? Here is Jago. Ryan Grant. Hooked back towards halfway by Yazan Al-Arab. Replacing Anas Bani Yassin in that left-sided central defensive role. Taggart looking to apply some pressure. A bit of a shank off the right boot of Amr Shafi. Tarek cut up. Rather an aimless ball, and giving Matt Ryan the opportunity to join in. Well, first job done, Robbie. 8 minutes played and the crowd's gone quiet for the first time. Only briefly, maybe. Mobile.
The second time he's touched the ball, so the game hasn't really settled yet. Still a lot of enthusiasm from Jordan. And dropping now a little bit deeper towards the halfway line. These are the key areas in between the lines.
Irvine combining with Rogic. Couldn't quite find the gap.
That's
Jordan
the
had
position,
the numbers.
but that's the position you want him to pick the ball up. In between the lines so he can face forward.
And run at defenders.
Yep. But as we've seen with battles with Jordan in the past, you've got to match them physically.
There is Prince Ali, once a presidential candidate for FIFA. Miloš Degenek being hassled and harried by Bahar Faisal. Unfairly, in the opinion of Fu Ming. But again, a reminder of the physicality of the Jordanians. Miloš Degenek wasn't going to be given the time to dally.
You know, I think that's the first thing that their coach, Bork Ullmans, has told them to do, is don't give them time on the ball. Let them know they're in a match and they're not going to have it their own way.
Jackson Irvine back to brace against Chinese Taipei, last time out for the Socceroos. Looking perhaps to get on the end of this throw from Ryan Grant, who wants options. Sainsbury. Little drop of the shoulder. And cuts back towards Smith. Yeah, not quite, Brad.
I think he got caught probably the worst area of the pitch there, as he tried to back heel that one. Let's see what Australia do. Will they press high as well? They do.
Says Tarek Khattab, one of those overseas-based players, plays in Kuwait with Al Salmiya. A chase on for Sainsbury, and now a test for Ryan. Here's Yassin Al-Bakit, turning clear of Rogic. Squaring it up for Ahmed Ersan, and on the overlap on the right is Ihsan Haddad. And Ersan decided to drive into the penalty area instead.
Yeah, good clearance in the end. Did have Al Haddad down the right-hand side. This ball, and now it's a shame.
Jago concedes the game's first corner.
Yeah, he must have just took his eye off it, but you see that attack, Al-Bakit, and that's the first little glimpse we've seen of him. He's very neat and tidy on the ball, very sharp. And as they transfer that to the right-hand side, they've put the Australians under pressure.
Well, that will signal the arrival of Tarek Khattab and Yazan Al-Arab, the two central defenders. They scored, of course, from a set piece in January at the Asian Cup. Anas Bani Yassin that day at the back post. It's going to be Ahmed Ersan with the delivery. First bit of pressure potentially building for Australia. Ersan into the near post, and that's an easy gather for Ryan. Looking for Mobile out on that right-hand side. Deftly taken by Rogic. That's a good ball to pick out Irvine, and potentially an even better one for Adam Taggart. And that is a splendid finish by Adam Taggart to put Australia in front in the 13th minute. They side the Jordanian defence apart, and Taggart, who is banging form for his club, did the rest.
Well, just a brilliant movement. And Jackson Irvine comes in off the left and drifts in the middle and gets in between the lines. And what about the ball to Taggart? They get caught square, he gets in between Arab, and Tariq Katab, and a great finish. The goalkeeper comes out. Shafir, does he come out too quick? Doesn't matter for Australia. That's a really good finish. There you see Jackson Irvine comes into the middle, turns and faces, and a little diagonal run, really sharp from Taggart in between the two central defenders, and that's a fine finish. Just lifts it over Shafir.
Well, he bagged a brace against Chinese Taipei, his first goals for his country in 6 years, but this one, you'd say, arguably much more important. And that's really steadied the Australian nerves, if there were any. They'd look relatively comfortable anyway. But two razor-sharp passes right through the guts of the Jordan defence. And the home side were undone. And the finish, Robbie, of a man who scored 18 goals in 31 games for his club.
Yep, man, full of confidence. One chance and took his first chance. But what a ball from Jackson Irvine. And so clever the way he came in off the touchline and just drifted in to the middle. Found well by Moy, and he was able to turn and face, but he didn't hesitate. He thread the ball right between the two centre halves, and it was a fine finish.
6 goals in 11 internationals now for Taggart, but a bit of defensive work to do here for Australia. The foul on Bahar Faisal. Gives them a set-piece opportunity, Jordan, and Bahar Abdul Rahman, one of the overseas-based contingent, plays in Saudi Arabia for Ohod. Looks as though he might fancy taking this one on. Slight delay, referee's not happy. Bit going on between Al-Damari and Deganek. So Matt Ryan's had plenty of time to set this wall and think about what Bahar Abdul Rahman might do. It's a fair way out, almost dead straight. Well, he got it up and over, but as you would say, Robbie,
not down.
Not down.
We always felt, you just didn't want to say it beforehand, but it was something from, it'd have to be something very special from that distance to beat Matt Ryan. And you saw the confidence Ryan had. They only had 3 men in the wall, not even 4.
Aaron Moy. Slightly overhit for Taggart, but he applauds the intent. He's having quite the year, isn't he, Taggart? All those goals for club and now country, and a Korean Cup win as well, and this was a very tidy finish. I'm with you, Robbie. Maybe the goalkeeper came out a touch early. Maybe felt he had no other option, really, given his centre halves were bisected by that beautiful threaded pass from Irvine.
Yeah, but I think if he didn't come out, Taggart would have had to have taken a touch on an angle and might have given him a better chance. But anyway, doesn't matter for Australia. It's a fine finish.
It's only the second goal they've ever scored on Jordanian soil. The only other one in a 2-1 loss in Amman in 2012. This is Al-Bakit, who swapped flanks just for the moment. And will sling it in, left-footed. Sainsbury meets it. And Mobile, again, looking to release Taggart early. That break in the Jordanian league that I talked about, that's got to affect clearly the local base players. I know a lot of them are looking for deals overseas to fill in the gap. It's almost like we experienced in Australia many years ago, the end of the NSL and the beginning of the A-League. There was just no football. And they're going through something a bit similar, not quite as long a break in Jordan. Their last domestic campaign finished in May, and the next one doesn't start until February.
Yeah, that's tough because you can train all you want, and practice matches, but
you need to play, don't you?
The intensity, particularly of this kind of game, an international against the best team, inverted commas, in the group.
It's all a little bit more subdued in the stands. Won't take too much to get them firing up again. Nodded down by Moy. Australia content to play a bit of keep ball inside their own half of the pitch. It's a good steal on the blind side by Mobile. Somewhat missed his kick, but Rogic floats it beautifully into the path of Smith. Back they come through Jago. Square of him is Grant. Mobile pushing out towards the touchline. Australia starting to get their passing game going. James Jago. That's the return off Mobile. Square for Moy. Jago again. Nice little passage of play you'd fancy might be rather dispiriting for Jordan. Here's Rogic now in a pocket of space again. He's got that time and room to turn. Little step over from Mobile. Can he find the angle for the cross? Swept away by Al Arab. One back immediately by Grant. Clipped forward by Moy. Too far for Irvine. But a good little passage of play that for Australia.
Yeah, and that's good for their confidence, keeping the ball going from one side to the other. And for one of the first times we saw Rogic be able to get the ball to Mobile facing his defender. Did get a cross in, didn't really get a hold of it. A nice positive passage of play, crisp passing.
Already Australia up to 64% possession in the game. Now an awkward bouncing ball has deceived Brad Smith. It's Yassin Al-Bakit trying to dart between the two defenders, and they look for a penalty, but Fu Ming is not interested. Rogic, beautiful balance. So that's lovely stuff by Rogic. That will be a foul. Al Arab brings him down. Now Jordan will protest about the lack of what they feel should have been a penalty kick at the other end.
Oh, he comes back inside, and he did get in between two defenders. What a run from Rogic. Balance, poise, the way he started it, flicked it over the midfielder, and he was on his way. A really good position for the likes of Aaron Moy.
Anything in the penalty shout at the other end, Robbie?
Well, he certainly got caught in the sandwich. My initial thought when I saw it was this could be close. Seemed to be a bit of contact. Well, quite a bit of contact.
Well, it is a pretty good field position for the likes of Aaron Moy or Tommy Rogic. Jago and Irvine stationed in front of the wall.
And it's quite a distance as well. Similar distance to the one Abdul Rahman had for Jordan.
Does suit the left footer more than Aaron Moy perhaps, but we'll see who takes charge. Both equally capable. Finally, we're ready. And Moy does take and fires over. Incidentally, in the other game, Kuwait have taken the lead over Chinese Taipei. 1-0 in that match after 23 minutes, also in Group B. Shafi wasn't worried, was he? The goalkeeper popularly known in Jordan as the Whale. I'm not sure that's a compliment. Maybe it is in Jordan. Here's Grant. Flick with the outside of the boot for Mobile. Mobile wants the corner. Let's have another look at this incident. Well, he does get blocked off, doesn't he?
Yep. He had last contact with the ball. You can see them go either way.
His passage to goal was simply blocked by Sainsbury and Smith. Interesting one. So Australia do have the corner after Mobile's protests. Moy to deliver. Near post was Deganek. So too was Bahar Faisal for Jordan. Another slight delay. Now we're ready. Take two for Moy. Bit more flights. Irvine got a small piece of it. Mobile's quick. Too quick for Tarek Khattab. Shafi had to be mindful of the angles.
Well, he did very well to recover that ball. Mobile got around Haddad. And then didn't really get a hold of the cross. Did he hit it with the instep rather than the inside of the foot?
Lovely drop of the shoulder again by Rogic. Useful release as well for Irvine. This is Mobile. Australia building nicely. Stretched by Irvine to keep it moving. And Brad Smith would need 6-foot-long legs to keep that one in. And that's the clearest foul throw I think I've ever seen, but nothing doing. And there is a foul though on Al-Baqi, which is quite clear.
I tell you what, Rogic looks in great touch though.
Does. Jago the offender.
Always gives the team an air of confidence when you see Rogic and Moy in good touch, and they both are here so far this evening.
You need those X-factor players, don't you, at international level? Of course, no Matt Leckie tonight. Daniel Arzani still to come back, potentially, to this team. Massimo Luongo not involved either. Nor Mark Milligan, Robbie. I suppose at Mills's age, it's, with respect, probably a game-by-game proposition at the moment. Says Ahmed Samir. Places it nicely in front of Yassin Al-Baqi. That's Isan Haddad available. Back they come instead through Noor Al-Rawab there. Teasing cross, Ryan Grant to deal with it.
Yeah, defended well because that was a good cross.
Bahar Faisal's just saying, give me a bit of service. Sainsbury to clear his lines.
Australia very comfortable at the moment. It's just really that one shout. Al-Bakit for a penalty. The only threat to the Australian goal.
Another good turn this time by Irvine, and Brad Smith has got away from his man and he's placed it way too far in front of Taggart.
And I think he takes it early. I think he can eat up the space there. He's got another, well, he crosses that from probably the edge of the penalty area. That's another good sign, seeing the fullbacks get forward.
Here they come again, Australia. Our Mobile. Al Arab makes the block at the expense of a corner. Been busy down that right flank, our Mobile. Occasionally cutting inside to allow Grant to overlap. Good form for his club side. Midtjylland as well, who are well clear at the top of the Danish league. Aaron Moy's latest corner. Again, it's Degenek at the near post, and it's over the top by Jackson Irvine, who feels he should have done better.
Yeah, and he does so well, Jackson Irvine. He's such a threat from set pieces. He just seems to find space in the box, darts one way and checks back on the other side and gets away from Arab. And on the half volley, can't control it.
Irvine again looking to make amends. It's not Rogic's best ball of the night. Ahmad Shafi going walkabout. A little bit loose from Jordan, but they got away with it. Baha Faisal. It's too far in front of Yassin Al-Bakit. A little too straight from Baha Faisal. Who plays his club football in Qatar for Al Shamal.
Yeah, Al-Bakit, when he's, what was after about 10 minutes, he switched to the right-hand side and he stayed there, and he seems to be the main focus of who they're trying to hit.
He was clearly scared of the mullet of Ryan Grant. Here's Rogic. It's been a relatively comfortable opening half an hour for Australia. Maybe that's about to change. This is Ahmed Samir. Yassin Al-Bakit. Hassan Haddad. Well, it was more measured until that point from Jordan. It goes awry off Baha Faisal, much to the disappointment of Vital Borkermans.
And you can see his frustration. He knows how important that goal was for Australia from their point of view. And from his team's point of view, if you want, that was exactly what they didn't need.
He's got plenty of weapons on the bench, does Borkermans. That ball's gone out of play. Not least the Cypriot-based winger Musa Al-Tamari. And a bit of a blast from the past then, Hamza Al-Dadour. Who scored against Australia in that 2-0 win back in 2015. Here's Brad Smith, meantime, firing it in low, and Mobile arriving at the back post. It was difficult to control, had to take it at pace.
Well, it's a real clever ball from Brad Smith. Doesn't try to beat anyone. Whips it across the face here. Too far for Taggart, but he's coming in. Slight contact with El Dameri. And because of that slight contact, he's sort of falling as he hits this ball and can't control it. Decent chance.
Rogic too strong. Just to echo your point, Robbie, does look in fine touch tonight, Tommy Rogic. That's against expectations, given that he's not played too much.
Well, just to how he's receiving the ball and turning so sharply. We know how gifted he is technically, but he's so quick off the mark this evening.
Last featured against Uzbekistan at the Asian Cup back in January for the national team. Deganek invited forward. Now he's got to scamper back. Al-Bakit. Bahar Abdul Rahman.
And Jordan, when in possession, they're just having no joy at all of finding any space between a very disciplined Australian side out. Look how they block the space, block the passing lanes.
It's neat from Noor Al-Rawab there. And gets away from Ahmed Ersan. As tidy and as technical a player as Yassin Al-Bakit is, you just feel as though Jordan are missing that little bit of energy, bit of dynamism that maybe Musa Al-Tamari might provide off the bench down the flanks for Jordan. This is Haddad. Heavy touch again by Bahar Faisal. They're almost banging into each other, the Jordanians. No real cohesion about their play at all at the moment, and their central strikers picked up a knock to his arm in the process, I think, from his own teammate. Australia moving easily through the lines. Rogic at pace. I think he might have got a bobble there off the pitch. Or am I being kind?
Well, I think you're right. And the one pleasing thing for Graham Arnold is that they're getting him on the ball, facing forward. And if they keep allowing that, Jordan, it's only a matter of time that he's going to punish you.
Jordan have completed just 74 passes to Australia's 176, which gives you a pretty fair idea as to how this first half has gone. Just that one real moment of alarm when Al-Bakit was the meat in the sandwich.
Well, chances for both sides have been at the premium. Australia have dominated the game, have been the better side on the ball, there's no doubt, but they've only really created that one chance. And what a chance it was, and it was dispatched by Taggart.
Half chances for Irvine from the set piece. Our Mobile off balance at the far post. If it does stay this way tonight, Australia will be 5 points clear at the top of the group, and Kuwait, who are leading Chinese Taipei, just a reminder, by 1-0, they would be in second ahead of Jordan. Only the top team automatically qualifies for the next phase. Plus the best runners-up from this second round. Graham Arnold doesn't particularly want to go down that route. Rogic again. receiving and turning effortlessly. And it clips the heel of Jackson Irvine. That's where it breaks down, which is unfortunate for Australia. He's done it so many times tonight. You think the Jordanians would have learned not to get too tight on him, Robbie, but they keep making the same mistake. That was a mistake by Jago as well, and Jordan will advance through Ahmed Ersan here on the right, looking to bend it in, but again it's too close to Matty Ryan.
It was a decent ball. Faisal was just coming a little bit too late. There's the ball in. Overhit, even if he was coming in late.
Degenek. Smith. Seen out by Haddad. Jago. Sainsbury. Easy win in the air for Tarek Khattab. It's a good turn by Smith. Can't get clear of Haddad though. Maybe a chance for Jordan to spring forward again. They look to hit Bahar Faisal early.
He's
just not working at the moment.
Two defenders around him, so they're not finding anyone behind Faisal to hit.
Rogic out for Grant. Grant with time, not the best cross, not best dealt with either by Al Arab. He got a second bite at it. Five minutes of the first half to run. Our Mobile finding a pocket of space, but out it goes for a throw.
Yeah, and there he had his defender one-on-one, and he elected to take the shot on early. The bodies in the box with Taggart and Jackson Irvine.
Degenek for Smith. Irvine looking for the fullback in return. Well, they're enjoying themselves, even if their team's behind on the scoreboard. Always create a good noise. Fans of Al Nashama, the chivalrous. FIFA ranked 98, and at times it has looked a big gap. Talking of which, there's a gap here for Smith to exploit, and he's picked out Owen Mobile at the back post. And then Moy on the volley, deflected behind. Australia will have a corner.
Well, Brad Smith, he picks out Mobile. I don't think he was trying to. I think he overhit his cross. And they worked it quite well to end up with Moy having a strike deflected. Because I think he's...
Yeah, balloons off the boot, doesn't it? He's fortunate that it fell for Mobile. And Shafi's maybe fortunate that deflection didn't leave him embarrassed.
Comes off Al Arab, I think.
Does. Rogic in low and hard, but Taggart slipped. He can still smile about things. I'm not sure Prince Ali, who is the head of the Jordanian FA, is particularly happy. Maybe the home fans are singing they want him out. Borkelmans, he has been under pressure. Maybe that's why he was giving the rather rueful smile. Kuwait have taken a 2-goal lead now against Chinese Taipei, so they look pretty comfortable over in Kuwait City. Bahar Faisal down again.
Well, we need to translate it to see what they're chanting. in the stands. But one thing you can be sure that Jordan have been poor in this first half.
I'm not sure there was too much in that, to be honest, but Faisal has fed off scraps in terms of service in the first half. Maybe he feels that's the only route to goal via set pieces.
Yellow card for James Jago for that challenge from behind.
That's a costly one, that as well. It's Jago's second in this second round of qualifying, so he will miss the home game against Kuwait next March. That's how long the break is between fixtures for Australia. Free kick pumped into the box, looking for Al Arab. Just a hopeful ball, really. Jordan have another game against Chinese Taipei on Wednesday. Yeah, it's been that sort of a first half.
Yep.
For Vital Borkerman's side.
And Haddad there, he was already standing out when he tried to chest that, but ball wasn't the greatest for him. But, you know, said Jordan have been poor in this first half, but give credit to Australia for that as well. They've been good in possession and physically have matched it.
Look at that from Rogic.
Yeah, fine touch.
A feather touch on the ball to kill it and release a teammate. That's the Tommy Rogic we remember. Moyes lost out here though. Ahmed Ersan. Could Jordan finish the first half with a bit of a flourish here? Al-Bakit back on the left now, looking to take on Ryan Grant. Goal kick. Came off the Jordanian last. And we're about to move into 1 minute of stoppage time. Your assessment of this first half, Robbie, from Australia's perspective?
Australia have been good in possession. They've moved the ball quickly. I think Rogic has been excellent. I mean, Adam Taggart, the very well taken goal. I haven't seen much of him apart from that. Brad Smith's been... Well, that's another mishit cross. I was about to say he's been very present in the second part of this first half, if you put it like that, but his last couple of crosses have been, well, wayward. Not a little bit wayward, but just wayward. But in the middle of the park, Moy and Jegov had control, and at the back, you know, very comfortable, Deganek and Sainsbury.
I think changes might be afoot for Borkermans at the outset of the second half. I wonder if we might see Al-Tamari, maybe even Al-Dadour. All that's for the future. In the meantime, Australia have got the job half done. Adam Taggart's 6th goal at international level, giving them the advantage at the break, and Jordan have it all to do. We'll be back for the second half in Amman. Here's the scoreline at the interval. It is Jordan 0, Australia 1. And welcome back to Amman for the second half of Jordan against Australia. Billed as the toughest encounter of the group stage for the Socceroos. It's not really been that. In the first half, they've been pretty comfortable. They lead thanks to Adam Taggart's 6th goal for his country, which came in the 13th minute, courtesy of a wonderful through ball from Jackson Irvine. As you can see, Jordan have made a change, and as expected, it is Musa Al-Tamari, the flying winger who plays for Apoel Nicosia in the Cypriot First Division, who's been injected, Robbie Slater, to provide a little bit of pep into an attack that has been rather lacklustre in the first half from the home side's point of view.
Yeah, and that's the one certainly earmarked as a surprise omission, and no surprise at all that he's come in for this second half. So you'll have, you know, the pace of Al-Bakit and now Tamari for the Socceroos to contend with.
There he is. And you won't be surprised to hear his nickname. He is the Jordanian Messi. Every team in the Gulf has one. But he is a tricky player. However, it is Australia have the opportunity here. Foul on our Mobile. Gives Aramoy the chance to try and pump the ball into the box, which is swept away by Al Arab. And then a slip by Moy. There's confirmation of that change. Ahmed Samir is the man withdrawn. And here's the new man, briefly. Musa Al-Tamri. As you can hear, the home fans love him.
Yeah, so maybe a change of formation as well for Jordan, with Samir, who was operating more centrally, Tamari operating on that right-hand flank. So offensively, they'll try and be a 4-3-3. But of course, that soon converts defensively when Australia have a lot of possession into just the one up front.
Here's Rogic, who was outstanding in the first half. He just lost his footing ever so slightly there on the pitch. As mentioned at the start, it's a little bit slippy in places. Ahmed Shafi to clear. Deganek let it bounce, and then had to scamper back quick smart to head off Al-Tamri. Jordan just looking for a little bit of life, a bit of energy. And so far they've been a pale shadow of the team that's excited those supporters at the Asian Cup in January. Got to the round of 16. I'm sure they were rather disappointed to go out on penalties to Vietnam. It's a useful looking ball by Moy, slung into the box by Irvine, but plucked out of the air with ease by Ahmed Shafi, the Jordanian captain. Quick release. It's gone from one end of the pitch to the other as Ahmed Shafi, and Ahmed Ersan, as quick as he is, never going to reach it. Now Deganek dawdling in possession, and Jordan are on the attack. Musa Al-Tamri cutting into the box and firing one in, and Matt Ryan had an anxious glance across his goal and was happy to see it go behind, and that's what he can bring, Musa Al-Tamri.
Yeah, and that's the first glimpse. Exactly, and he gives them a spark, and the crowd come to life. There was a mistake from Deganek that allowed him in. A quick feet, he goes in between two there. Works it onto his left foot and doesn't get the bend he needed. Goes too straight, but it's not that far away. Matt Ryan looking at it.
He is predominantly left-footed, Musa Al-Tamri, but tends to operate on the right, and that is the danger. The turn by Ihsan Haddad. This is their 5th consecutive home international, Jordan, which is perhaps why the pressure has been starting to build on Vital Borkelmans. They're in better spirits now after that little cameo from Al-Tamri. Australia, by contrast, have played just one home game in the entire calendar year. It was that comfortable win over Nepal. Here's Mobile, whose pace gets him there ahead of Al-Damiri. See big Harry Suter going through some warming up exercises. And that goal away to the right. Long throw by Grant. Met by Tarek Khattab. Oh, high foot by Grant on Al-Bakit. How about Harry Sutar's goals to game ratio, Robbie? 2 internationals, 4 international goals. A little bit misleading given the opposition.
Well, the one thing we haven't seen from Harry Sutar in an Australian shirt is a lot of defensive work, because he hasn't really been needed.
Off the head of Bahar Faisal, not where he wanted it to go. Rogic. Again, very tidy footwork by Tommy Rogic. A little bit less so by Grant. And Vitor Borkemans has got a response out of his team. Introduction of Al-Tamari has helped. This is Aldemeri. Ryan Grant should be able to see that one out. And again, you see just slipping on the surface, and Grant saying, I didn't get a touch. The referee disagreed. A little bit of pressure building on Australia.
Well, he was trying to shepherd that one out, and it's quite simple. Either he slipped or he was pushed. Grant saying he was pushed.
Let's have another look. I think he's saying I slipped, but it came off Al-Bakit, and I think he's right. Anyway, corner it is. This is Ahmed Ersan trying to weave his way past Smith. He too has gone to ground. Rogic trying to reverse pass it back into the path of Mabil. Then losing out to Al-Tamari, who skips away from Jego and drives through the Australian defence. Comes off the heel of Grant. Bahar Faisal trying to shield it away from Trent Sainsbury. Oh, and Deganek. Total miscue, and Australia just a little bit rattled at the moment.
Yeah, they've come out on the front foot, Jordan, and when you see already what Al-Tamari's given them, you wonder why he wasn't starting. Australia just looking to slow it down.
Trying to take some of the heat out of the contest that's maybe starting to build. Even Graham Arnold looks a little bit more frazzled than he was in the first half. He's heading straight to China on the back of this game to run his eye across the Olyroos, who are gathering over there ahead of their big qualifying tournament in January, which we hope will take them to the Tokyo Olympics. Long launch by Amr Shafi, and Bahar Faisal got a piece of it. Here's Al-Bakit and Matt Ryan. There's more energy about Jordan, no question.
Yeah, they've come out, and whatever he said at the half-time has certainly worked. And the change, Samir off, Al-Tamari on, Bakit's back on the left-hand side. They're getting more possession as well, and their passes are better.
It's a clever leave as well for the onrushing Ihsan Haddad, the fullback. Cross deflected, swept away by Jego. Breaks here for Taggart. Barely sighted second half. Jordan throw, or is it? King Abdullah II Stadium, home ground of Al Faisali, one of the big two in Jordan, along with Al Wadat. Have a massive rivalry in this part of the world, normally share the domestic title between them. Worked out well by Irvine towards Smith. Had to go to try and keep it in play, which he did. Aramoy. Measured ball for Rogic. Rogic again.
As he received that ball, not too far away from the penalty, you could see he was just trying to make a half a yard to try and get a shot off, and they closed him down well.
Brad Smith. Irvine to Moy. Breaks for Rogic. A little bit short for Irvine. Bounces out off the head of Milos Degenek. He's had one or two anxious moments at the outset of this second half. Tarek cut up to float it forward off the head of Al-Tamari. Given away by Smith, who then wins it back for the Socceroos. Moy gets the head up, picks out Rogic. Ryan Grant's looking to steam forward as he loves to do, but even Tommy Rogic's passes are starting to go somewhat astray. Good win in the air by Sainsbury. Al-Bakit. The offside flag is up against Bahar Faisal. Jordan enjoying a lot of territory second half. Almost up to 62%. Tight offside, but probably the right call. More importantly than that, Robbie, Jordan have managed to muster 2 shots already, which is more than they managed in the entire first 45 minutes.
Yeah, and they've got better all over the park. They're not giving Australia as much time in possession. Moy and Jego really control the middle of the park, and we're finding Rogic often in that first half at the moment. They're not able to do that. The energy from Jordan.
There's just that little bit of a lack of control, and Ryan thought about coming there. Al-Bakit is around Sainsbury, danger here. And Matt Ryan forced into meaningful action at last. It's taken almost an hour. Yassine Al-Bakit turns the corner.
Well, the change of pace there surprises Sainsbury. He thinks he's comfortable, he thinks he's got Bakit covered there, but just a little acceleration there takes him around Sainsbury. And he had no one to hit in the middle there. He took it on himself, and Matt Ryan stood firm and stayed big.
So the corner from Ahmed Ersan. And it was Jimmy Jago flicked it away. Retrieved by Musa Al-Tamari. He's around Aramoy. And Brad Smith. He is so slippery, isn't he? And again, Ryan is grateful to see it flash wide of that right-hand upright.
Well, the Australians have seen what he's going to do. And he's done the same on 2 occasions now. You've just got to keep him off that left foot. Show him the line. Make him go down the outside on his right foot. And that flashes across the face of goal. There you see Brad Smith a little bit square.
Well, the warning signs are clear. Australia needed to refocus. Maybe had it too easy in many ways first half. Here they come again. Bahar Faisal Tried to go himself. Al-Bakit is complaining that he should have been played in.
Well, I think he's right. I think Australia can be relieved he takes this on himself. He maybe takes another spot.
He was covered by
touch.
Grant.
He was covered,
fairness.
so he probably had to take it when you see it from that angle.
Here's the other big gun being called off the bench, Hamza Al-Dadour, who scored against Australia in 2015, and the home fans are buoyed by the changes, both already made and imminent by Vital Borkermans.
You see the individual battles they're winning all over the park now, Jordan. They weren't in the first half.
There we go, Bahar Faisal, it's a like-for-like replacement. One central striker for another. Hamza Al-Dadour replaced the Al Wadat club locally. 30 goals in 79 internationals, including 4 against Palestine, you might remember, at the 2015 Asian Cup in Melbourne. Missed out this year's Asian Cup tournament due to injury. So they played 2 of their biggest weapons off the bench, Jordan, as they seek to get back into the contest.
Well, they're clearly on top. They have been for the whole of this second half.
Rogic. Australia looked to reassert a bit of control as he bumped off the ball there, Rogic. He had a hopeful look towards Fu Ming. Long launch by Shafi, met by Sainsbury, steadied down by Deganek. Moy to Smith. It's nicely worked on that left-hand side, but Smith ultimately loses out to Haddad, who then turns it straight back over to Moy. Jackson Irvine. Again, the triangle involving Moy and Smith. It's back with Irvine again. Eventually, they just run out of room. The trio in green and gold. The chase is on for Sainsbury. Always favourite, ahead of Al-Bakit. Just clips it into the path of Ryan Grant. Taggart. Rogic. Oh, lovely footwork again by Tommy Rogic. Sending Mobile a little bit wider than he wanted. Grant just waiting for that little reverse pass, wasn't he? Now he's out of position, and Jordan could potentially exploit that. They should have done. Better ball, might have been more useful for Al-Dadour. He's kept it in play. Al-Bakit. And he settles for a corner off Deganek.
Yeah, but see the difference with Jordan in this second half. When they win the ball in transition, they're a lot quicker. There's more options, more runners. So it's a real test for Australia.
Al-Bakit has been central to it. Matt Ryan with a fair bit more work to do in the second half than he did in the first. Latest corner to be delivered by Ahmed Ersan. Change of angle. Ersan again. Courage to shoot by the home fans. Al-Tamari. Al-Tamari again. Useful ball. Oh, there were 2 or even 3. Free at the back post, and Tarek Hattab has somehow put his header wide. They should have equalised, Jordan.
Oh, Hattab misses a sitter. What a ball from Al-Tamari. Look, he's got his head up. He knows exactly what he wants to do. And what about the quality on that? And, well, it's a sitter. Just heads that back from where it comes from, across Ryan's, will have no chance of stopping it.
He's gone near post instead, hasn't he?
Wow, look at the
clearly onside too.
On the other side of the goal, completely open. A real simple chance. Beautiful delivery from Hatab.
Well, Musa Al-Tamari has changed the game, really, for Jordan. It does, as you mentioned, Robbie, rather beg the question as to why he didn't start. But anyway, he's on now. Here is Tariq Khattab, probably still thinking about that glaring miss. Ahmad Shafi, where's he going?
Oh no, he's doing step overs. That's how confident they are at the moment.
Jago's touch was anything but Moy has sorted things out, along with a bit of help from Rogic.
But as they pick up the ball, just out a little bit static.
Yeah, and those passes that were all too easy in the first half are much more eagerly contested after the break. Jago.
David Gallop looked like he had a nice comfortable seat there.
He did, the big armchair in the VVIP section. Here's Rogic, trying to scoop it over the top, I think, for Taggart. Really get his foot underneath it. Sainsbury now playing in Israel, of course, for Maccabi Haifa. So a short trip for him. No changes made as yet by Graham Arnold. Happy with the way things are for the time being. That lead still intact, given to them by Adam Taggart. Here goes Al-Tamari again. Isan Haddad on the right. It's going to be another corner for Jordan.
Which they completely wasted.
And just to underline their second half dominance, they've now had more shots in the game in total than Australia, Jordan. Al Dador, good use of the body to get clear of Sainsbury.
Yeah, this is the problem. This side in particular, where Al-Tamari is, and Haddad's at times played like a right winger, the right fullback.
This is Noor Al-Rawab there. Isan Haddad. Oh, Rogic. Could have been risky. Instead, it's a goal kick. Well, they've weathered the storm so far, Australia, and they are going to make their first change. Adam Taggart, scorer of the game's only goal, on 13 minutes to be replaced by Mitch Duke, who was only a late injury replacement himself in this squad for Apostolos Yanu, who had to pull out. And Taggart's done his job. Mitch Duke with his all to do. But he's in fine form for his club side, Western Sydney Wanderers. 4 goals this season already, including one last time out in the A-League against Western United. And Jordan have got a player off at the moment, and I tell you what, they won't want it to be Musa Al-Tamari, given the impact he's made, but he needs a bit of attention, and maybe that's why he didn't start, Robbie. Maybe he was carrying an injury. So that should give Australia just a little bit of respite, at least for a moment or two. Oh, high boots by Bahar Abdul Rahman. Aaron Moy feeling the full weight of that.
And just an example, it's of course a foul as El Tamari makes his way back onto the pitch. But, you know, in those kind of situations, Aaron Moy was receiving the ball with plenty of time in the first half. Not so the case.
In the other game in the group, Kuwait are now 6-0 up against Chinese Taipei. They've obviously banged a few in quick succession in that match in Kuwait City. So far, one goal is enough for Graham Arnold. But they've had to work a lot harder second half. I wonder whether we're going to see the introduction maybe of Martin Boyle at some stage. That's a good turn by Mitch Duke. And Mobile on the right. This looks promising for the Socceroos. Moy. Duke, clever header. Touched on by Irvine. Mobile trying to dig it back out again, but Tarek cut up too strong. Gets it out towards Al Tamari, who's back with us after his little injury scare. Here he goes again, Musa Al Tamari. Touched back by Haddad. Oh, it's just too far wide of Al Tamari. By Ahmed Ersan. Here's that change for Australia. Awa Mobile to take his leave. And Martin Boyle, who we last saw in a pre-Asian Cup friendly against Oman. He was only a late introduction that day off the bench, but unfortunately sustained that serious knee injury and has been in rehab virtually ever since. But he's back, and even though he's only played for Australia 3 times before tonight, Robbie, fair to say that the Socceroos have missed him.
Yeah, because he burst onto the scene in those 3 games and was a breath of fresh air. And his injury was a blow at the time, and it's great to see him back.
He's only actually played 80 minutes in 2 substitute games for Hibs' club side, but he's thrown straight back into the international fray. Jordan struggled to clear their lines. Played back by Duke for Moy. And Brad Smith to just lift it into the box. Irvine couldn't reach it. It's a deft touch by Al Bakit. Now with Ahmed Ersan to look to bounce it over the top of Sainsbury for Al Dadour. Australia deal with that one quite comfortably. Straight by Jago. Touch in field by Rogic. It's a useful ball. Pocket of space here for Jackson Irvine. Duke was really in too close attendance for that sort of ball, but Boyle has skipped clear of Aldemiri. And that's the sort of cut and thrust that Graham Arnold has missed from Boyle. Here he goes again. And Aaron Moy from long range had all the sting taken out of his efforts and the direction, but it will produce a corner for Australia.
Well, if Al Tamari provided the spark for Jordan, I know it's very early, but only 2 touches and 2 runs from Boyle has done that for Australia. And it's only been a short, what, 2 or 3, 4 minutes maybe, but that's the best period they've had in the game in this second half so far.
Well, he's not frightened to take players on, is he, Boyle? Turns and runs at defenders. Let's see what Moy can produce from the corner. Not much is the answer. Steered clear by Jordanian defence, and Al Tamari trying to break clear of Sainsbury, couldn't do so. Into the last quarter of an hour in Amman. It's going to skip away from Mitch Duke. And Jordan has certainly put an awful lot of energy into chasing the game. The lion's share of the second half might just benefit Australia in the closing stages. In what we've mentioned already about the local league being in abeyance for the moment. Whether the Jordanians' fitness level is enough to live with Australia. That remains the scoreline. Adam Taggart's goal dividing the teams. This is Boyle. Back by Grant through Rogic. Moy. Boyle. And again, he tries to dart between two defenders and draws the foul. Wins the free kick.
He's just come on in such a positive frame of mind, Boyle. There, little space, but he's able to turn. And straight away, draws a foul.
Ahmad Shafi's had a much more comfortable second half, but he's on alert here, all right. Moy or Rogic. Moy, the more usual taker. Did score a goal against Jordan a few years ago in a home World Cup qualifier when Harry Redknapp was in charge of Jordan. This time it's going to be Rogic, and it's too high again. Not able to add to his 9 international goals.
He was disappointed that didn't get a hold of it the way he would have liked.
Kuwait have scored a 7th against Chinese Taipei, matching Australia's tally. They are yet to concede one, of course. Here's Boyle. Australia just starting to reassert themselves in the contest. Smith. Irvine. Brad Smith able to turn inside the penalty area, but 2 defenders in the way. One of which was Tarek Khattab, and he's floated it nicely over the head of Jago, but Deganek providing cover. There's Al-Tamari. Bit quieter the last few minutes. Person with nowhere to go. Back through Al-Arab. Khattab. Noor Al-Rawab there. Al-Tamari gets the foul. Was a little bit of contact. He was certainly looking for it. Another change imminent for Jordan. And it's another like-for-like change. It's a left-back for a left-back. Mohammed Al-Damiri to be replaced by Salim Al-Ajalin. Plays for the Al-Faisali club at this home ground. Jordan have got 10 minutes to try and turn this one around. Have a free kick. Decent shape to it. Oh, and it was a great save by Riot. Well, again, the delivery caused all the problem.
Well, what a brilliant save. Low down to his left and a strong hand to push it away.
It just seemed to hang in the air for a second, and it was Al-Dador. That's a fantastic stop by Matt Ryan.
Great delivery.
Well, he hasn't had a lot to do tonight, Matt Ryan, but goodness me, he's earned his money with that one.
That's a super save. Low down to his left and able to push it away. Not sure if they didn't give offside though there, because Australia certainly had a free kick.
There was a flag, but Ryan wasn't to know that.
No. Actually, don't think Al-Dador was offside.
Here's Al-Tamari. He's dribbled the ball out of play and thumbs it into the advertising boards in frustration. And what an impact he's had off the bench. Kuwait have netted an 8th goal. They're scoring at the rate of 1 a minute at the moment. It's a useful looking ball. Did it bounce off the arm though of Boyle? That's the decision. Jordan in a hurry, understandably so. Al-Tamari. Lovely feet, hasn't he? Or foot, I should say. It's all left peg, but it's pretty good. This is Isan Haddad, Yassin Al-Bakit, Al-Dador in the middle. Won't quite come out for Al-Ajalin. Moy wins it ahead of Al-Tamari. Rogic closed down far more in this second half. Gets the decision. Now they've got a problem with Bahar Abdul Rahman. Have Jordan, but they have made 3 changes. So he's going to have to soldier on unless they want to finish with 10 men. Jordan. Maybe not a bad time for Australia to have a breather and for us to get the thoughts of Robbie Slater.
Well, it's been a tough second half. And you look at Rogic there, who was fouled, and he hasn't had the influence in the second half because Australia haven't had the possession. You know, in the first half, he was getting in between the lines, continually able to receive the ball and turn and run at plays. Just hasn't been that kind of game in the second half. And Al-Tamari, of course, has been the key to that. His injection lifted Jordan, and they've still got time, but you just go back to that Al-Khattab chance. That was the big one for Jordan.
And then that magnificent save from Ryan, which might not have counted anyway, but well, I'm sure Adam Federici and Andrew Redmayne, the reserve goalkeepers, are full of admiration, the goalkeepers union. Whilst Abdul Rahman takes his leave, I can tell you Kuwait have scored again. It's now 9-0 over Chinese Taipei. Just about 8 minutes to run in that game and just over 5 in this one.
Well, at your rate, that'll be 17. Abdul Rahman there didn't look, well, it doesn't look to me like he's going to come back on. He was holding his hamstring. He might just have to try. If it is a hamstring and he comes back on, he's only going to do a lot more damage.
He's having to think about it, isn't he? Abdul Rahman. Meantime, Boyle bit too far wide of Rogic. Well, Tamari almost back in the right fullback position, which is exactly where Australia want him. Here we go. Abdul Rahman's back with us. Quite how mobile he's going to be, we shall see. Ahmed Ersan. Easy for Smith. Jago. Now a bit of room for Rogic. Irvine. Martin Boyle. Looking to attack Al Ajalin. To call that a disappointing cross, Robbie, is probably a bit of an understatement. So Boyle's done well otherwise off the bench. Here's Irvine. Duke. Moy having a stretch. It's good stuff by Australia. Smith. As they look to kill off the game, perhaps. Moy. Boxed into a corner, really, by Al-Rawab there and Haddad. Smith fed cleverly by Irvine. And it spoons up in the air, courtesy of the deflection off Tarek Khattab, but Al Ajalin should be able to thump it forward. And the chase is on between Sainsbury and Al Dadour. That was well played by Trent Sainsbury, who's under some pretty heavy pressure there. Australia not quite out of the woods yet.
Well, Rogic is getting a lot more room, and that's a poor pass for him, from him, because Abdul Rahman is certainly not mobile. He's just occupying a space in the middle there, but
Rogic with the blatant foul on Al-Bakit. Might be lucky he didn't go into the book for that, to be fair. Abdul Rahman's fit enough to be able to take this free kick for Tarek Khattab. Moy to drive forward through midfield. And then loses his footing and the ball. Ahmed Ersan in possession. Al Dadour. And he drew the contact from Deganek. Another free kick. Chance for Jordan to apply some pressure and search for that precious equaliser. Al Dadour's been handy as well off the bench. Not just Al Tamari. There have been good changes made by Vital Borkermans. Are they about to pay dividends late on?
well, this one too far, you would think, to hit it. And difficult to get an angle. If you're going to get an angle, a left footer would be the ideal taker.
Well, they do have the left-footed Al Tamari, of course. Fu Ming is not happy with things at the moment. He's not quite Fu Ming, but he's not happy. Finally, we're good to go. Ahmed Ersan looks as though he might want to take this one on. He is, and it did bounce right in front of Matt Ryan, but he had a clear line of sight.
You saw Al-Bakit was furious when taking the shot on there.
Saw the headlines in the papers, didn't he? 3 additional minutes. That's all that separates Australia from a big win in this group, and one that would put them 5 points clear at the top. With just 4 games to go.
Well, it's an historic win as well because...
Yep, never won in Jordan before.
And, you know, when these groups were away, we knew that this was going to be the toughest test, and the second half has certainly proved that.
It's not over yet. Good stretch by Jago. Rogic slipped by Boyle. Oh, Rawab there gets Jordan moving again forward. Here's Al-Tamari. He's been Jordan's best player by quite some distance. Still going, Al-Dador, chance here, Al-Bakit. Another great opportunity spurned for Jordan, and it might be their last one.
Well, absolutely brilliant from Al-Tamari. Haven't been able to tackle him once he cuts in on that left. But not only that, he has end product. Puts this one to Al-Dador, lays it off for Al-Bakit, and he's just trying to guide that one to the far post, and he mishits it. Hits it too straight, not enough power, and Ryan very, very relieved for that to come straight at him.
Well, they've had some chances, haven't they, second half?
Oh, they've been the better side, there's no doubt.
9 shots they've had in the second 45. 4 of those on target. Still, they're not done, perhaps. Al-Bakit on the left. Borkermans urging his troops forward. Little step over from Al-Bakit, and Al-Dador at the near post. Couldn't control the header. He's wanted a push and a penalty. He's not going to get that.
Well, 2 chances they've created in injury time. Bakit, little step over, gets around Ryan Grant. That was a difficult one. Al-Dador saying you got to push, but if there was a shove, it was after he'd headed it.
They've made heavy weather of it. Australia's second half, they're almost there. And a few months break before the next game at home to Kuwait. And they'll have that 5-point buffer if this is the way it ends up. There'll be a few questions as to their performance second half. First half, very good. Maybe one final chance. The bouncing ball might favour Al-Bakit here. Time almost up. I need to get bodies into the box, Jordan, and quick. Oh, it's a poor ball by Al-Bakit. That might be that. It is. It is all over, and they've done it, Australia. Yes, says Matty Ryan.
Yeah, that's what it means.
Adam Taggart's goal divides the teams. They had to work hard second half. Jordan had their opportunities, but no slip-ups this time. The curse of Jordan is broken by Australia as they secure their first ever win here and take a sizable step towards qualification. That's the way it finished in Amman. Jordan 0, Australia 1.